Well, hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the podcast once again. And today we have a first. We have someone here to talk about an industry that I've never interviewed in and an industry that I am definitely weak at. I am so proud to have you on, LeVar. Can you please tell these folks about yourself?
Definitely, man. I greatly appreciate you for having me on, Doc. My name is LeVar Love. I am the principal of Rosie Investment Corporation, and I am a community developer in the city of Chicago. What that means is simply that I'm a flipper who has a partner in the government or the government
Ooh.
of the city of Chicago. It's a beautiful relationship. It's what I call where my passion has purpose. I get a chance to make money, impacting the community, providing affordable housing, and I have a partner in the city of Chicago. So that's who I am. That's what I do, and I have a great time doing it.
Oh, I love it. Wait, I like the words you used. I like all the words you use there. Community, purpose, passion. So I guess the first question I have, which is probably on everybody's mind, Chicago, right? We hear so much about what's going on in Chicago. What do you have to say about what's going on in Chicago now from your perspective?
Sure. I'm going to start out by saying I'm biased. So I was born and raised in Chicago. I was born and raised on the west side of Chicago. I was one of the individuals that, we pride ourselves in saying, don't know, not a lot of brothers make it out of the west side of Chicago. So that's where I came from. I had a chance to leave Chicago, go to college at Tennessee State University, get an education, and come back and actually give back to my city. What I would tell you, a lot of things that you hear about Chicago, they're true. Some of them are true. There's some rough neighborhoods, there's some rough communities, but at the same time, there are some amazing people and there are some amazing communities. And I get a chance to work in both. The ones that have some
Nice.
opportunities and the amazing ones. So that's my take on Chicago, right?
Love it.
They say sometimes, man, it is what you make of it.
Ooh,
That's what Chicago is.
I love it. I love it. I love that you compare. There are some great parts in Chicago. So yeah, this is a different perspective than what we hear, how that goes on the news. So
Yes.
yeah, great. I love it. So why investments? Why flipping? What got you there?
So it started out when I was in college, actually. So I had an amazing professor by the name of Dr. Pennington. I was studying real estate and urban development at Tennessee State University and didn't know much about real estate. And that appraisal class changed my life. So he gave an assignment that really challenged us, made us look at one, what we wanted out of life, and then two, how we could achieve it. And what I realized is how I could achieve the things that I wanted in life were through real estate and investing in the community and things of that nature. Uh, at the same time, I actually had an opportunity to help my family refinance the property we were living in. So it's just kind of one of those things. Sometimes timing is everything. So at the same
Yes.
time, I'm studying real estate and urban development at Tennessee State University. My family had a house that we had owned for over 20 some years that didn't have a mortgage on it, that needed a lot of repairs. And how they say, I got on the job training really fast.
You took what you learned and got it done. That's beautiful. Is that why you got the sense of I'm doing this for community and the bigger picture? Is that why you got it? You saw what it did for your family? Or when did you get that?
Yeah, no. So I literally left that situation and then I realized like how valuable real estate is. I didn't even understand kind of the whole balance sheet thing and everything about equity. But what I knew was that at that point, I had to go buy me a house. So I bought my first house while I was still an undergrad at Tennessee State University, rented out rooms to my frat brothers and stuff like that. And literally the next step, I helped my mother buy a house because my whole life, so the house that I was talking about was my family house. It was one that my grandparents owned. But my mother had been renting the whole time, since I was born, my mother had been renting. So when I saw like how equity worked and how she could build wealth through real estate, I gave her her down payment on her
What?
first house.
That is amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
you found a way to bring that generational wealth inside your family. That's what do you think is was like the most important? Well, the teacher, obviously, but what else would you say was the most important part that like drove you into this industry?
Yeah. So it was, let me kind of give you the full story.
Yes,
So
please.
not only was I studying real estate and urban development at Tennessee State University, I actually had an opportunity to get an internship at Home Depot. So while doing an internship at Home Depot, I met a lot of people who were doing those DIY classes. I don't
Yeah.
know if you remember it. Back in the day, you
Yes.
go in on Saturday, they teach you how to do tile, they teach you how to install a ceiling fan. So
Yep.
when they were, I met all the guys that were doing that. So I ended up actually working for Home Depot for 10 years while I was kind of doing real estate as my side hustle. And while those early years at Home Depot, when I found out, wait a minute, it's this easy to do tile, or it's this easy to do
Yeah.
this, or I hate to say it, but put lipstick on that pig, because that's what we were
Yeah.
doing in the early days, right? So when I
Like
learned those things on top of the foundational education that I was getting in understanding the numbers, understanding how to get a property to cash flow and things of that nature, it was like magic. It was just all happening. It was a nucleus of information, knowledge, training
I
that were
love it.
going on in like a two to 3 year period.
Wow, I love the mindset. So have you always been that way that you learn from things, you understand that's the important part?
Yeah, so I tell this story a lot. So while I was fortunate enough, and one of the reasons I was with Home Depot so long is that I was in great positions. So I was a multi-unit manager like 2 to 3 years in with them. So I felt like even though I do have an MBA in finance from Belmont University, I feel like I got three MBAs
That's
because they
right.
were literally paying me to drive from one store to the next, and I was listening to audiobooks. Every audiobook I could
Oh,
listen to, I
yes.
had it in. I didn't listen to the radio anymore. It's like back then you could get this subscription where they kind of let you listen to like 4 or 5 different
Yep.
audiobooks or something like that. They'd send you the CDs or whatever the case may be. But I loved learning. I like the more when I got that information from Dr. Pennington, from studying at TSU, and I saw how it changed my life. I was like a sponge. I just wanted more. I wanted more. Like give me all the
Good. I
information that you
love
can
it.
give me, and I want it as fast as you can give it to me. So
I love it, man. Because right now, and I talk to this a lot about people. Right now, the education is under attack, kind of, where
yeah,
people don't think it's important anymore because it doesn't turn out the way we thought. But I I think it's important. Everything I do now, I'm not doing what I went to school for, but school taught me everything
right.
I know to do. So how important
Yes.
do you think it is? And what would you tell a young person that is making that decision and they're hearing everybody say, "Ah, you don't need school." What would you tell them to kind of convince them that maybe you should try it?
Yeah, you know what I would say is I think that maybe the traditional format, right, is a little different than when we were coming up. It was like, hey, I had to go to this 4 year university. I had to do these things. Like I have a 17-year-old son right now, and I definitely want him to go into college. But the way I communicated it to him, like, hey man, going to junior college the first 2 years is just as good as going to the 4 year university.
Mhm.
So it's like the way I'm communicating it is like, okay, let's start with the end in mind. And this is what I learned from Dr. Pennington. What I challenged him was is what do you want to do 5 to 10 years from now? Close your eyes and where do you see yourself? What career do you see yourself in? What car do you see yourself driving? What house do you see yourself in? And I was like, and when you can picture those things and you can communicate them to me, let's talk about the path that will get you there. And I'm just going to be honest with you, Doc. 90% of the time, education is the path to get there. So that's why I wholeheartedly support
Yes.
education and going after some type of degrees, certifications, all of
Something.
these things. Because I think at some point in life, you really need all of them. Because
You
I got
do.
the degrees and then I went and got, certifications at different points in my life to help me get to the next milestone.
I love what you just said. Somebody better listen. I'm telling you, somebody better listen. Yes, yes, yes. We need more of that all the time. So tell us something about your industry. Like, I'm really weak at that industry. I went
Sure.
and got a real estate license once, and I didn't sell not one house. The first day that I went out to show a house, you know, they tell you show three options, right? I went out there to
Uh-huh.
show three options. We never made it to one. I found out I'm really bad with addresses, and that was before the fun.
Yeah.
So I quit immediately. So I'm horrible at it. But what can you offer of advice in that industry?
So what I would tell anybody today, if you're not in real estate and you're interested in real estate, is that there are so many options, right? So from an investment side, it's like, hey, there's wholesaling, there's flipping, there's doing rentals, things of that nature. But then also what I would say is like, hey, look, guess what? There are appraisers, there are home inspectors, they're even what we call today, like the individuals who go out there, they're kind of in between a real estate broker and an appraiser. So you're going out and you're just doing BPIs. They don't actually sell real estate, but they're doing broker priced opinions. Yeah, it's almost like a pocket in and of itself, definitely. So it's a situation where there are so many opportunities in real estate today. I even know several people in the last couple of years that have become asset managers, right? So it's instead of a property manager, right? I didn't talk about property managers, but at the same time, there are asset managers. So they're the individuals who go and work on a portfolio of properties. So say if you're that real estate investor and now you have 20 some properties, it's like, well, now you need more than just a property manager. You need an asset manager who's looking at your properties over long term, the true value of it, when you should
Got it.
sell, things of that nature. So that asset, that portfolio of assets, they need a manager as well. So these are things that when I started out early in the game, I didn't realize that there were so many opportunities to be successful in real estate, and you didn't have to just go out and sell a house. You didn't have to just go out, you know what I'm saying, and do
Yeah.
a wholesale deal, that you could make money, you could be successful in real estate in a lot of different ways.
I honestly, I didn't even, I mean, I've heard of all these things, but I've never put it like, yeah, that's everything you can do in this industry. That's
Right.
huge, actually. You know, it fits everybody's personalities in some way, you know? So, I was looking at videos of yours. You're teaching this now as well, right?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
How's that
Yeah.
going?
Yeah, so it's going great, and here's the reality of it. I actually how I got into teaching a lot of this stuff is simply because it got to a point over the last 2 years, once or twice a week, I get a call, someone asking me to be their mentor, someone asking questions about my processes and things of that nature. So for me, I have to be passionate about something. I'm,
Of
I'm not
course.
I'm not going to just do it for the money. That's just not who I am, right? I thought I was that
Dude,
person when I was in my corporate career. I did, but I realized over time, no, that I can't lead with money. I
that's
have to use
right.
my grandfather's analogy. I have to do what I love, and when I do what I love, the money will come. So
That's right. That's
that's
what
right.
I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Yep.
It's
So
that
when I'm
simple.
yeah, so when I'm passionate about it, when I love it, I'll work 12 hours, 16 hours a day because it's not work to me. I'm just doing something I
Yeah,
love.
it's
But at the it's like at the end of the day for me, man, it's one of those situations where if you focus on things and you understand that, hey, I have a passion for this and I'm gonna go down that direction, it's like the sky's the limit. So
but it's is it a hard industry? Like there's a lot, I'm pretty sure there's challenges. What would you say is one of the biggest challenges in this
yeah.
industry?
So what I'm going to speak to is kind of that whole flipper, real estate investor, community developer like me, because that's the space and the individuals I'm pretty much involved
Okay.
with day to day. Today, it's the trades. It's getting the work done. Actually, partnerships and relationships with the construction professionals, that is the most difficult thing. A lot of people think it's money. And once you've done a deal or two, a successful deal or two, people are pretty much throwing money at you. That's just the
Got
reality of
it.
what's been going on the last 4 or 5 years. It's not the money. And today, because the market has changed slightly, if you're an investor, it's not the supply, the inventory. So there's plenty of inventory, especially if you're in a metropolitan area, things of that nature. But the reality of it is trying to get that work done and get the work done on time, on budget would definitely be the biggest barrier to being successful in this industry right now.
God, and you, but from what I'm hearing, one of the things you think would help is the networking, working with other people. Is that important in this industry?
It is huge. There
Really?
is no way that I would have been in this industry this long or accomplished the few things that I've accomplished if I did not have the network that I have. It's like the first in the last 2 months, individuals who reached out to me for a little mentorship, a little coaching, the first thing I tell them to do is find the real estate investment networking group or association in your area and join it. It's the best
Wow.
99 bucks you could ever spend because
That
they're going to have a monthly meeting. You're going to sit down with at least 10 to 50 people once a month who are doing exactly what you
that's
want to
right.
do and they've had headaches that you haven't even thought about
Yeah.
yet.
Didn't know
And that's
existed.
where you can learn the most. That's the most valuable information you can get.
Wow, that was my next question. What would you tell someone that wants to start? You just said it. Yeah, that's actually a really good tip. I would say that in a lot of industries. So yeah, that's a huge tip. That's a networks are almost everything, right? Who you're
Yep.
surrounded by. I love it. So where do you see this industry, your part of the industry going in the next few years?
Yeah. So a couple of things. So one, for me as a community developer, because of the opportunity out there, and I'll just be honest with you, I want you to picture something. So for the program that I am, and I'm associated with a specific program, I want to shout it out. It's
Yeah.
the neighborhood rebuild program in the city of Chicago. It's managed by the Chicago Community Loan Fund in partnership with the Department of Housing for the city of Chicago. That specific program, they basically are looking for individuals who have the ability and the capacity to do redevelopment. They don't have enough individuals. I think that right now, that certified in that program, they're in the city of Chicago. The last I checked, there might be somewhere between 25 to 30 of them in the entire city of
No
Chicago in this
way.
program, right? And that's just not enough because we focus on two or three of the communities that have the biggest opportunity and the biggest need for affordable housing. So it's the sky is the limit if you have the ability and have the capacity, if that makes sense. And then
Yes.
next, I would say, looking at an individual, say you don't want to be involved with a program like that. You just say, I want to get out here, kind of, maybe get my real estate license and I want to do real estate or I want to be an investor. I would say the opportunity is huge for you right now because this is what I tell a lot of people. If you get with someone get a mentor or get with someone who is successful today, you're working with someone who really knows what they're doing. I'm
Mm.
just not no offense to anybody, but
No, of
about 3 or 4
course.
years ago, when all that COVID money was out here, and kind of it was like people were just kind of kicking a can and
Yes.
making $30,000 off a property and all
Yeah.
of this other stuff. But what I tell people is like, hey, today, the individuals who are doing deals today, making money today when the interest rate is at 5, 6%, sometimes 7, when it's like you're out there, bidding for properties. It's like
Mm.
these are individuals that you have to know a little bit about what you're doing. You have
Yeah.
to understand how to make a rental property cash flow. Like it's the game is challenging,
Yeah, it sounds
but there are
complicated.
still a tremendous amount of opportunity.
Dude, I love what you, I don't know. So you're coaching now. I think that's anybody that listens to this and please contact this guy because you know what you're talking about. I love the way you putting it together. You have the confidence. Now, do you know the impact you're making on communities? Like, do you know yourself, like the lives you're changing with this affordable housing?
So can I give you my best example and the
Yes,
one
please.
that allowed me to just see things in a totally different light? So in 2022, we had the opportunity to work on a property in the West Inglewood neighborhood in Chicago. So we found out after acquisition, it was actually kind of, if you think about the program that I am, the neighborhood rebuild program, what I felt it was like one of the most ideal projects we could work on because we bought the property from the Cook County Land Bank, which is also a partner of the program. We actually used workforce development labor to do things like demo the project. So we were creating job opportunities for individuals in the community. And that's where we started our first workforce development program. On top of that, we found out from the people on the block and a couple of people from the community that property had been vacant for 10 years.
No.
And during that time, they had, people they didn't want on the block hanging out on the property. It had been getting broken into. They always had to call the police, things of that nature. So we were there from beginning to end, somewhere around 6 to 8 months. It took total 9 months to get it sold from like the first day we started demo to the time we had it sold. And during that time frame, people on the block, they embraced us.
Oh,
They embraced my crew. They would come out and like say if they, like I'm not gonna say her name, but an elderly woman across the street, if she made cookies, she brought cookies to the crew. Like
yes.
that's how they show love and appreciation, right?
Nice.
There are a couple of times they'd be like, hey, can you guys, because we had guys working at that, can you guys look at this for us or something? There might be something going on. We do small fixes for them just to help out. And then it became a point where we knew that they were looking out for this house that we were working on. It never got broken into. We didn't have any issues. And when we finished that project and they found out we were done, several people on that block put a list of properties in the area, in about a 2 to 3 block area. They were like, hey guys, we hate that you're leaving. Can you guys continue to work in our community? We want you here. They literally gave us a list. Here are the houses that are abandoned in the area because they knew we were working with a city program. And they were like, we don't want you to leave.
Oh,
They invited us to the block party. We truly became a member of the community and we saw the value and the impact that we were having on just that one block. So that changed my outlook
yeah.
totally.
You saw it.
It's
You
like
saw what you're
that's the
doing.
day that after that project, I no longer talked about flipping. I no longer talk. I knew that my company and me as a person, I was a community developer. I wanted my projects to have a positive impact on the community.
I love it. I love it because I lived in Washington Heights, New York, which was like
Okay.
really it was the ghetto. And vacant houses, vacant buildings are the worst thing to have in a community because that's where all the danger comes and nobody cares about this. So yeah, that's huge. Let me ask you, so the when they told you about these houses, did something develop with the houses they gave
Yeah,
you?
so the great thing about it is that the city has what's called a reverse referral program. So typically the program that we work in, they acquire the houses initially, and then we acquire them from kind of an intermediary of the city or whatever the case may be. But they have a reverse referral program. So we were able to take the list, give it to the program and say, hey, start doing due diligence on these properties. Let's start looking at these. So that was the first way that we gave back. The second way is that we decided that we weren't leaving Inglewood.
You
so today, so today we've actually partnered with the nonprofit Rage. Shout out to Rage. We've partnered with them there to be their residential community developer. So for the city's program. At the same time, in August of last year, we acquired a building in Inglewood, and that's where our home office is going to be. So we acquired a building from the Cook County Land Bank, and we're setting up. We're not going to be this community developer that comes into the community
and
to make a
then
change. We're going to live in the community. Our office is going to be there. We're going to be a minority owned business in the community that
yes.
makes change in the community.
I love it. You're showing, look, you took care of the community and the community came right back to take care of you,
Right.
showing what good work does. It gives, like
Yeah.
what you said, what your dad or granddad, your dad said to you about,
Yeah, my granddad. Yeah.
say it again, say what is it they told
He
you?
says that if you find what you love, if you do what you love, you'll never go to work a day in your life.
I love it. I
I
love it.
don't
And
go to work.
you
I don't
know,
I don't get up and
you
go to work.
know, this is amazing and it's needed. This is what is needed. Are there any threats to these programs you think that can uh hinder what you guys are doing? Not you as a business, but as a community.
Yeah. Yeah, what I would say is that, of course, in the environment that we're in today, any program that is funded federally, there's threat there,
In
right?
trouble.
We actually were, had some communication this week, and what we've been communicated is that as long as the funds are flowing, right? So programs like this are funded from several different sources, right? So the program is funded for 2 years right now. So what I would say is that the biggest threat is the time frame. What we have to do is be able to show that we can deliver capacity, meaning really get units renovated, get them back on the tax roll for the city of Chicago, provide several properties. Like our goal is 8. But in 20 between now and 2026, we want to get up to where we're doing 8 projects a year. So we're putting 8 affordable housing units a year back into the community. So what we've been challenged with so that we aren't threatened is to produce volume and capacity. We have to produce volume and capacity affordable housing for the city.
Oh, yeah, it's like what you're talking about. That's so you have to that the challenge is getting the deliveries to get it done. And you're saying that is what has to happen now. That is
That has to happen.
that's what you have to mean. So what are some of the skills and strengths you're gonna need to complete something like that? If anybody's listening that's in the same boat as you are right
Yeah.
now.
So you know what, Doc? That is a great question because I've even thought about this. Like that I was thinking about, man, just putting a social post out saying like, hey, if you are a contractor that's looking to partner with a community developer that that has funding, that has projects, and you're a skilled trade person, you're just you have a small construction company or something like that, and just really sitting down and building the relationships in that industry because I think that's really what's capping us right now. Not having enough skilled trades, not having enough contractors that really understand this business model because it's a different business model. It's like the draws work a little bit different. So if you're an investor and you've dealt with this type of money, the draws work a little bit different. The deposits work a little bit different. So we've learned that we've had to kind of almost retrain some of the contractors that we work with. Like, hey, the money's escrowed. It's there. It's coming. We just got to get to a certain production level. We got to get to a certain, work that's done, things like that. So, and it's just a little different. It's not good or bad. It's a different business model. So it would be a shout out to the contractors in the Chicagoland area. Hey, holla at your boy. You know what I'm saying? And here's the
Please.
thing. It's not even just for me. All of the developers I work with, we all want to sit down with a group of contractors and say, hey, let's work
Mm.
together. Let's work together to not only make a change in our community, but also make money for our families and create generational wealth for our families.
What an opportunity.
Yeah.
It's like
Yes.
it's an opportunity. If someone would if these people would come and take advantage of it. And I think this
Yeah.
is great. Yeah, put the shot out. I think that's a really good idea. Look at you solving problems. This is awesome. So how bad do you think is the housing crisis for affordability right now? Like how big is it? Is it growing?
Yeah.
Is it gonna get worse?
Yeah, so it's getting worse. So here's the
Mm.
reality. So I do something. I have a couple of individuals that I've worked with, as well as I really consider them friends. They work with departments like the Office of Homelessness, Homeless Services, things of that nature. And I touch base with them once a month. I'll even go into kind of a local shelter, just kind of talk to individuals because I really try to be boots on the ground as much as I can to understand what's going on. And it's a situation where it's individuals who are working, meaning they have a job and they can't afford housing.
Yeah,
The
it's
price
horrible.
of rents, let alone with the new interest rates and things like that, what it takes to purchase a home, it's it's shocking. It's eye-opening to understand that you can have a full-time job, but yet you can't afford a two-bedroom home, which is what, my mother had when we were growing up. It was like it's scary almost.
Yeah, it
If
is.
I'm being honest with you, man, it's like the affordability from housing is almost scary. I remember back in the day when I first got out of college and I was paying 400 or 500 bucks for rent.
That
You
doesn't
can't
exist
find that
anymore.
for quality affordable housing anymore. That
Not
that
even a
doesn't exist.
room. Not even if you know how you rent room spaces, not
Right.
even. Those things are
Yeah.
700 bucks, 800 bucks
Right.
here
Thank
in
you. So
Florida.
imagine that. So I hate to date myself, but when we came out, you get a full apartment, couple bedrooms, nice
Yeah.
kitchen for $500 a month. And today, you can't even get a room.
Can't even get a room. It's
And
sad. It is sad, and the Chicago market is that amplified by the fact that it's such a big area.
metropolitan area, yeah, it's one of those situations where there are a lot of things that are going on in the city that it's like individuals are just really being priced out.
And the funny part is, if we could take care of the housing problem, if people being homeless is really hard. It's a trauma-filled experience, right? I was
Right.
homeless and it changed my life for a long time. I couldn't
Yeah.
get off of that no matter what I did.
Right.
So all the we're complaining about youth violence and all that in these different cities, but that if can't afford your home, what direction do you think someone's gonna take of that
Exactly.
hopelessness and no future? You don't see future because nobody cares. I'm out here like struggling to live. So
Right. You're not surviving today.
yeah,
How are you going to think about the future?
it's impossible. But thank God we
Yeah.
got people like you that are like trying to do so, that are doing something. Can you disclose? I don't know if that's possible. Can you disclose how many people you've helped or how many homes you've filled
Yeah.
or anything?
So what I would say is that on average right now we're doing about 4 affordable housing units a year. So and
That's
we've been in the program since
good. That's
yeah, we've been
for
in the program since
family
20. Yeah. So
every
it
year.
and literally what I talked about is the we really want to immediately this year we want to do five, right? It's like we want to ramp up, but next year we're getting aggressive simply because, and I'll be candid, because we have the support of Department of Housing, because we have the support of the Neighborhood Rebuild Program and things like that. We understand it allows us to scale and to grow our capacity, right? And it's through those channels that we realize that we have to do more.
So you're saying Chicago's actually doing good, the government, as far as trying to help in
Yes.
this oh.
You would be surprised the resources that are out here. Now, this is what I would say. If you kind of have to know where to
Of
look. And
course.
I think that's the feedback. And every time I sit down with the different programs, it's like, hey, like I'm here, but I'm a college educated professional that had,
No,
over 15 years in corporate, right?
no.
So I'm a little bit different. I'm not the average person in the community that you really want this program to reach out to and grab and say, make a change in your community. I was like, if we're going to be successful, we're going to find that, my cousin, we're going to get my cousin who works for the post office, right? And get him to say, hey, take a little bit of that money from that good government job you got and
I
invest in the
love it.
community. And we're going to reach that person.
Got it.
So that's the feedback that I give. If we're really going to make long-term change in our community, we have to reach into the community, get individuals that are in the community that are working just, working that hard working blue collar job and say, guess what? You can create generational wealth as well.
So it's the communication. That's where they're weak at, communicating these programs into the right people that
To
they
the right
want.
people.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, they do a great job on kind of certain social media platforms and having these different what do they call them, lunch and learns and
Got
meet and greets, but that goes out to the people that are in this network
it.
that kind
Got
of
it. They're
already
already,
know about it.
they already know where to
Yeah,
find it.
so it's like, why do I know about it? Because I was a real estate professional and I
Got
was already flipping and kind of doing some other things, reaching out to lenders and so forth and so on. But what I'm saying is we've got to reach that individual who is not in real estate, that is focused, doing 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, or whatever the case may be, and say, we know you're not interested in real estate today, but you can have a huge impact on your community and you can change your kids' lives if
I
you do
think
something different today.
I think that's a really good tip because yeah, now that I think about it, I'm not in it. I wouldn't know how to find one of like I don't know where to
Right,
look for any of this
right.
stuff that you're talking about. I didn't even know existed. So that tells you, yeah, that's important. Okay, I love it. I love it. I love it. So what was the last dream when I say dream that you wanted to become, can you remember one time that you had a dream and you're right now sitting and you're going, that is exactly what I pictured back then?
Yeah, no. So okay, all right. So this hopefully nobody thinks funny of me, all right?
No.
Or like,
Oh,
hey, I'm not. So I'm gonna tell you. So me and my buddies. So I like I said, I went to Tennessee State University. I remember being on spring break. I probably was like a junior, maybe a senior. I don't know. I think I had just started the internship at Home Depot, and I was. You know how you're on spring break, you just talking to a bunch of girls and blah 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 blah. And I remember we were out there, and it's like it was some girls like we knew we shouldn't have been talking to, probably didn't have a chance to ever be with all this other stuff. So you know how you trying to impress them and all of that. And then we're sitting there. Remember now, I'm a real estate and urban development. That was what I was getting my degree in, right? So she's like, "Well, what do you do? What do you do?" So I looked at her. So I'm in real estate, baby.
ah,
Right. And I'm just talking, you know how it is, man, when you're that
yes,
age, you're a
yes,
college
yes.
kid, you just, just going back and forth. But I remember, I'll never forget it. Because it was just a conversation. We're just sitting out there. I was being a wingman or whatever the case may be. And I went back to we were on spring break. I went back to school and I sat there and I was like, yeah, I think I just lied to her. But in my head, what I said was, I do want to be a real estate developer.
Look at that.
I said that because that's what I really want.
Yeah, that's what was in there.
That's what was in there, right? And you ready for this? I said that because if I can say that to people, I'm proud of what I do. I'm
Yeah.
proud of who I am. If I say that, like if I'm a real estate developer, I'm gonna look myself in the mirror every day and be proud of myself. That's how it resonated with me back then. And from that day forward,
Wow.
like I just took small steps to get there. And I'll be real with you, Doc. I tell people every day, like I live a dope life and I do real dope shit. Excuse my language, man. But because and so being in real estate, being a real estate developer, like I told that girl when I was on spring break, it was everything that I can imagine and more. Because I
Wow.
really didn't have in my head back then about being able to help my community and give back. It
Yeah,
was
you're
just
too
something
young
I
to
was
think
like,
that. Got it.
it was a position, right? That I said if I'm doing that, I'm proud. I'm proud of
Got
myself.
it.
It has clout and all of these things. Not understanding that how good it would make me feel. How you ready for this? I told you I have a 17-year-old son. I'm proud. Every time I drop my son by one of the projects we work on, or I take him to Inglewood, take him to the community, and I'm like, look, let me show you how we're giving back, how we're helping families. You can do this
What a
too, and
lesson.
create generational wealth at the same time.
Oh man, that is beautiful. What a lesson. What a
Yeah,
lesson you're giving that teenage child.
yeah.
It's you're showing him what you learned.
Right.
So when he gets out of these, he's already learned. So what was your biggest lesson during all these years, going from that day that you, which I do kind of want to ask. So what did the girl? Did you get the girl? But I'm not going to.
I was being the wingman.
Oh,
I
got it.
think
So
that's
he
yeah.
got it. Damn it. It was a good line though. It changed your life. So from that day to realizing your dream, what lesson did you learn that would have made it easier for you to get there or faster or
This is gonna sound crazy. Be patient and stay the course.
that's what I'm talking about. Yes.
Because here's the reality of it, Doc. I'm 47 years old today. That was 20 something years ago, 20 plus years ago that I said that. And there have been many times where I lost focus and got off track, right? You know how we get
Yeah.
distracted, you get discouraged because you want instant gratification, things of that nature. And I look back on it, if I would have just, you know, kept doing real estate every day, just do a little bit, just work on it, get closer to the goal, so forth and so on, I'd have been here a long time ago.
Got it.
So just be patient, stay the course.
Oh, I like that. And what did you do to get back on the course? That's a good question.
Yeah. So you ready for this? I'll
Yes,
never forget
please.
it. I was so I left Home Depot and I was basically a area manager for Bridgestone Firestone at this point. So here's the thing, and this is the piece and the people I want to connect with. I was the guy that I was making six figures in corporate, nice six figures. I had the company American Express car, had a company car, right? It was like I was at that place where the next position up, I got on a plane on, I would be getting on a plane on Monday, flying and not coming back until Friday. So it's not like, hey, I was in a place where I wouldn't
Where you
my
had to
you
find
know, I
something
was living a
to do
pretty
that.
decent life. I'm just gonna leave it at that, right? And but what I realized is I wanted to be there for every one of my son's T-ball
Mm,
games. I wanted to be his youth football coach, right? And I had to make a choice about the quality of life and the dad that I wanted to be. Period.
wow. That
Right?
was the most important part for you.
Yeah. And I'm talking to my wife about this, and you got to understand. So my wife is a corporate woman as well. So she knows me. She knows that she was starting to hear like that check was about to go away.
It's
She knows me. And but what I realized it was in that moment where I was like, I've been doing real estate this whole time. I really don't focus on it. It's something I sell a house here, or I do a flip there, or whatever the case may be. I was like, it's actually my passion. And I would have the flexibility and the schedule to coach, be at his games, live life the way I want to live it. And it's my passion.
man.
Something's got to change. And that's what got me back on track. I tell you this, man, I've done so many things different or chose a different path because of my son. Because every decision I make, I think about, okay, how is he going to see this? Am I being the man that I want him to be? And it's totally different. It's like I was kind of a wild, crazy guy, in college and stuff like that. But when you're living life, like, hey, am I setting the example? Am I living my life and leading by example in the way that I want my son to live his life?
That's right. I
And
love
I'll
it.
make I'll make changes immediately.
Now, yes. I wish we're like the same age. You can't be my dad, but if you want to act like it, I love that. That is beautiful. That's how we break what's going
Yeah,
on with our children, man. More fathers
that's
like
right.
you that are like thinking about that. And I'm gonna tell you something. I think it's harder to change careers the way you did, the way you
Mhm.
did it, because you did it while you were already succeeding. That's harder
Yeah.
than doing it when you're in desperation looking for something to do.
So can I tell you something?
Please.
And this is what I tell my son today, because he's good at a lot of stuff, right? He athletically he's good. He's good in his academics and things like that. And the truth is, the enemy of great is good, man. The enemy of great is good.
Where you coming up with this? This is awesome.
Yeah, and it's like you know how hard it was to get that company car back. You know how
Yes.
hard it was to hand in that Amex card. You know how hard it was to say, yeah, I'm gonna give this pretty much guaranteed six figures because I had been making it for years on top of years back, and say, oh, yeah, I'm gonna go out here and get it on my own.
Yeah, that's hard. So and it's hard to now become an entrepreneur. That's a whole set of other issues that. So how if there is a young man that wants to be an entrepreneur, he doesn't want to do the corporate stuff, what would
Mm,
you tell them to do? Because entrepreneurs run the world, right? It's
that's right.
important. So
That's right. So here's the thing. He's not like a coaching client or anything like that, but I have a young man in his 20s that basically kind of corners me once a month, like, hey, he's trying to do an app, and he wants to be an entrepreneur and kind of things like that. And two things, I tell him to focus on two things. It starts back with that, hey, what do you love to do?
hmm,
Because it has to be what you love to do because you're going to spend 12, 14, 16 hours a day doing it. Period.
Yeah.
Right? When you're an entrepreneur, you are the marketing manager, you are the sales
Office manager,
manager,
the
you are
secretary.
the HR manager,
Yeah.
you are you
It's
right?
rough.
You the mailroom
Yep.
guy. So so you're all of it. So that's one. What do you love to do? You have to find what you love to do, right? And then second, what I would say is uh seek knowledge.
Yes.
Seek knowledge. You have to be well informed. Everybody that I talk to, I'm like, hey, even okay, if it's not real estate, guess what? If it's automotive repair, if it's IT, there's an association. There's some association that meets once a month or
Yep.
quarterly or something like that. That guess what? They have been down the road that you are trying to travel. Learn from their mistakes, find out their best practices, learn the platforms that they're using for success, get the information, seek the knowledge.
I
You do
love
those
it.
two things and you keep doing it, you'll be successful.
I love it. And you're like spot on. For my dissertation, I did a research on leaders and what they did to become leaders. That was like they're not, they all said that going out and networking, learning things that you don't even know you're going to use, going out, going like associations. That was like their number one things that they attributed reaching leaderships in their career. So look at you. Yeah, that's right on. So how do people get in touch with you? What services can they get in touch with you for? And what do you want? What can you offer them?
Yeah, sure. So, number one way is rosieinvestments.com. That's my website. On there, you'll see all of the Instagram, my YouTube, links on there, as well as projects that we're working on today, contact information. Just hit up rosieinvestment.com. And as far as reaching out to me, I'm in that place where it's said to those who much is given, much is expected.
Mm.
I believe in that. I have been blessed, Doc. I have been given a lot. I've been given a lot of opportunities. So I'm in that place where I want to share knowledge. I want to help as many people as I can. As you can see, all I'm talking about is how we're trying to help and
Yeah.
give back into the community. So reach out. I would love, you know what I'm saying, opportunity to help coach, train, develop the next wave of future leaders. I tell everybody, I wish when I was 22, 23 years old that I could get somebody like me on the phone, even if it was just
Mhm.
15, 20, 30 minutes and just have a conversation. I wish I had that opportunity.
I
So
wish I would have had the opportunity to meet with you when I got that real estate license. I wouldn't know what to do with it. I swear I passed it. I'm like, I don't even know what I do with this. I don't know what to do with this. I went into a broker's right and I signed up and I'm like,
yeah,
what do you need me to do now? They're like, what? Go
yeah, go do
that's
go
your
sell
problem.
something.
So lost. I wish I would have had you. Yes, and it's needed, right? This is
Yeah,
needed. There's markets for it. There's opportunity
sure.
for it. And here is someone that has had the experience of building it, not only for business, but for your life, right? Your family's life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say call. I'm telling you, if I needed a new career, I would be like, all right, let's talk after this because I think Rosie, why Rosie? Is there significance to Rosie? I'm just
Definitely. So, my grandmother's name is Rosetta. Her name was Rosetta. She's passed on. So, she is, man. It's funny. My wife and I joke about it all the time. What I tell her is, I said the reason I knew that you were the woman for me is because you're the only woman that loved me like my grandmother. It was
oh,
like,
I
man,
love that.
when you want to talk about unconditional love, like I tell a lot of people, is like I've been hard on a lot of women because my grandmother loved me so hard, man. Like
Really?
and it wasn't always like, oh baby, baby. It was tough love a lot of times that got me on the straight and narrow and got me doing the right things, right? Because I was a young kid growing up in
Yeah.
Chicago. So I needed that tough love, but I needed that unconditional love. And that's what my grandmother gave me every day, every day. So in any way that I can, send a tribute out, name a company after, yeah,
I think it's
that's the
amazing.
significant.
I kind of knew when you spoke, when that was like the first thing you spoke about, and I was like, I know what. I just wanted to check in.
You can see it coming, right?
Yeah, I knew it, but it's beautiful. So I did today. I recorded 3 podcasts, right back, and in all three, unconditional love was used as one of the most powerful things. Like it's
Yeah,
love is, we just our
yeah.
understanding of it. But that's beautiful. Your grandma did a great job. Thank
Thank you.
her.
Yeah.
There's
She's an
people
amazing
in
woman.
Chicago getting affordable housing, bro. It's as humans, we forget like how powerful like the everydays are, right? So for you, you're
That's right.
going every day to make a living. I mean, you know it, right? But there's people that don't. You're making a living, you're going out there and doing your work. But the truth is the impact you're doing, it's
Yeah,
you're saving families.
yeah.
So I'm proud of you for like,
Thank you.
as a
Thank you.
fellow a
Yeah,
person. I'm proud to see what you did with your life, and that now you're like not being greedy with what you've learned. Now you're like, okay, it's time to teach, which is the natural
right.
progression. So I'm very proud of you. I think you're great. I love that you're raising your son the same way. I mean, the future's bright, right?
Yeah,
I
that's
love it.
right. And Doc, I definitely want to say too, though, it's also important to have individuals like yourself
No,
giving
thanks.
guys like me an opportunity to talk about these positive things that are going on out there, man. So you're just as valuable, you're just as
No.
important. If you didn't, kind of, reach out, man, and give me this opportunity, I wouldn't have this chance to let my voice be heard. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you for your voice because it's powerful and it's going to make a difference. It's already doing it. I know every day. Is there anything else before? Do you give any classes or anything like that?
So, so actually, I work with a group called Builders Avenue, and they work with developers, small contractors, and things of that nature. So, I'm working with them this year to do some courses and things of that nature. And I do plan on kind of going forward to maybe working with some small groups and things like that, because I definitely want to have a positive impact, man, on small
Yes, in all
businesses.
areas.
And
I
yeah,
I love your brand. I'm telling you, I love it. I love it. I love it. And when you get there, when you get that going, let's talk again so we could shout it out again. I hope you get all the support that you need because you're doing really good work. Thank you for joining me. Please reach out to him if you're looking to be in, and it doesn't have to only be someone in Chicago, right? You could do it virtually if somebody
Oh
needs
yeah,
coaching.
yeah, definitely. So I don't talk about it, man, but I actually own a couple of businesses in Tennessee, own property in Tennessee, because
Woo!
I went to school at Tennessee State University. Shout out to the Tigers. But yeah, so you don't have to just be in Chicago. I've done real estate in several different geographical areas, so definitely can have some
Man,
input.
grandma must be so proud, huh?
Yeah, she's
I
looking
know
down.
she
Hopefully,
is.
she's proud. I know
I,
she's proud.
yeah, I know she is too. I would be proud. We're the same age, but if you were my son, I did it. I made it. I finally got to go. I did something good. No, so thank you for joining me. Let's keep in touch and if
Okay.
you need, let me know.
All right. Thanks a lot, Doc.
Thank you.
Repeat after me. I